Hello, how are you doing today? I'm just gonna show you some of the things I did today. I decided to come out, this is Sunday, we're supposed to rest today. I planted some quinoa, some pearl millet, and Seminole pumpkins, uh, homemade pickle cucumber. And do note that these are older seeds. This one's dated 2020. And indigo clackamus blue tomato seeds. Now don't those sound cool? Anyhow, I was going to talk a little bit about labeling your plants. How do you guys label your plants? I was just going to show you these okra right here. Now, I labeled them some time ago. I used a well, I guess you can still see it kinda. I used a red Sharpie to mark on these plant labels. And it hasn't been that long. The okra's only this big. What I'm trying today, and I don't know if it'll work out, I'll show it to you, is a paint marker. And I'm writing on the sides. Now, this isn't a permanent solution for my business because it's not that professional, but the little label maker and the labels and all those things for, I also labeled some of these. Those would have me about $300 out. So, and really I am been brainstorming because, yeah, look at the weeds go nuts in these plants. But I did weed some last week, and these came out like this. Those in the back I didn't get to yet. So, this is what happens when you source your own dirts or whatever instead of buying them bagged. But the cost of soil is up so high right now, and I'm still working on obtaining a good source. I think I am going to buy bagged for now on, regardless of the cost, because the cost difference right now isn't enough to justify all the time I'm spending weeding. So that and so I'm done over there for the most part. I have a few more weeds to pull. I'm going to put up a fence and start transplanting and moving these plants and weeding them as I go over. And I'm thinking we're going to be open on next Thursday. I wanted to also ask you guys, do you have any ways that you label or things that have worked out for you? Now, keep in mind, see, here's another one. We're in Florida, and yeah, I couldn't tell you what that says. I know it's a pepper just because I know it's a pepper, but I couldn't tell you. So I've been trying to creatively think of a way. I'm thinking into fall, summer. The spring season's pretty much over for garden centers and so forth. So I've been thinking about how to differentiate myself, how to get my plant numbers up so I have some cool varieties. And I've been really thinking about sticking with my theme of plants that are edible. And so I knew that I had some seed of the pearl millet and the quinoa. And if you look, they're actually kind of a pretty plant. And I'm thinking of doing some mixed pots with those, and maybe some pumpkins and hyanthus runner beans and things of this nature. So my mind is sort of going back to my original plan to stay with the food sources and try and so I decided now I know, like, the purple juster millet is very popular, and I looked up the description on this because I had bought it to as a crop cover for the chickens, you know, to grow something for the chickens. And then I realized, or I just never got around to it. But I was just looking at the seeds and the seed catalogs and trying to come up with ideas for the fall. And I noticed the millet grass, or, you know, the purple jester and purple millet. And I thought, I think I have some millet. So I went and looked, and that's what I have. Now, the description says it gets 12 foot tall. That's awful huge, but I'm going to run a test plot of it anyways and see how that goes. But I think the quinoa, and if I had chia seeds, chia is also a very beautiful plant. Quinoa is in the Araminth family, so it does have some ornamental value, especially I'm thinking of like planting it with pumpkins and some kale or things of that, you know, that are good in the fall. So by pumpkins, I'm not talking about the big ones. I'm talking about the little tiny pumpkins. And then the bean, because I was thinking of like kind of a play on the Three Sisters idea. But yeah, just sort of updating and enjoying my very hot Sunday. And I've been checking out these. These are the it's either Chief Kubo's or Chef Kubo's salad tree. And since I planted them, they've been getting yellow leaves and so forth. So I'm going to have to find a organic fertilizer and hit them. And also, I think it has a little bit to do with the soil. Or maybe it's just a little bit of transplant shock, but they were doing so great. They're not doing awful because, see, we got some new flowers or leaves here. They're just a little on the yellow side. So, and then I did some test ones. I cut some back to see which ones look better in the end, the cut back ones or the ones grown. And I'm thinking the cut back ones, look at that. Isn't that pretty? Are actually looking better. So maybe I'll cut them back. And when I cut them back, and these are things you can be thinking about as a gardener, when you're cutting something back, yeah, I'm always trying to propagate things. Again, don't look at my weeds. It's a testament to organic gardening, or trying to organic garden as much as possible. But I've been cutting back some sweet potatoes, and I just stick them in here. And this was a test run. I stuck some sticks off of those Chef Kubo's. I just stuck a handful of them to see how if they come. They don't look like they're gonna come. They look like they're pretty not gonna like it. So, but you gotta try. And yes, I think the sweet potatoes are kind of like tomatoes. If you've ever propagated a tomato, look at that. That's that Marguerite one. There's two different green kinds. You can see how this one's a heart leaf. This one's supposed to be ornamental and yet put off potatoes. This one is your classic Marguerite. This one gets huge and sprawls all over the place. This reddish one is not the normal ace of spades. It's also one that's supposed to put off sweet potatoes. A lot of the ornamental sweet potatoes don't do a good job of putting off potatoes. This is a regular ornamental one. The leaves are more, I think it's like blackie or something, or more, but they're kind of like tomatoes. I just pick the stems off that I cut off and stick them in dirt, and they start growing. I'll show you too how they're looking over here. You can just create so many plants off of this, you know, and you got to look for trademark. Make sure you're not violating any trademark. I mean, for the most part, for yourself, you can do whatever, but I don't think any of these have a trademark to them, so they're good to go. So yeah, is there anything else that you've run across? And I was going to mention that to people also. You know, I've got a a tomato plant sitting over here. It's a celebrity tomato plant. Now, I don't really think it's going to put off any great tomatoes for me. But you can see there's yellow flowers on it right now, but it's getting to be 90-degree days, so I imagine. But I'm just trying to hang on to it until fall, and I'll take some cuttings and start some new tomato plants from that. And that's a celebrity tomato. Now over here, this is something I'm trying. I'm always trying let me get over there closer. This is a, see all the flowers on it? This is a currant tomato. And I played with the Everglades tomato before, and this is sort of the same thing. They put off little pea-sized tomatoes, but they're supposed to reseed and pretty much stay in your yard once you started growing them. So that's another plant I've been playing around with. And I'll have those for sale too if you come by next week. These here are camellias. They're looking a little yellow. I didn't realize that they were acid loving when I put them in here. So when I repot them, I'm going to make sure I put them in some sphagnum. Anyhow, yeah, a lot of this stuff is way past due for replanting. It doesn't look that great, but I'm just out of room over here. I'm about ready to stretch my legs, stretch the plant's legs and move them on out of here. Back there are some of those potatoes that I have also potted up some time ago. And this is a little experiment. I'm trying to see if I can switch out these plants and get them to get nice and saturated in there to see if they start looking better. Anyhow, so that's what I'm doing. Do you have any marker situation? Have you found a way to mark your plants that has you know, for me personally too, I have the galvanized steel where you can write whatever on, and I use those out in the field for figs. But you know, on a mass plant situation like this, that's not really cost effective. So yeah, do you have any ideas on labeling things? But for the time being, I'm just stalling until we get something else going. And everything's growing. I made up these simple baskets a while ago just to see how they do. I mean, they're so shallow and they hardly get any water. I mean, well, they do get water, but they dry out quickly. So, but this purple stuff and the vinca is so vigorous, I thought I'd give it a try. And over here, I almost killed this orchid. And I put a bunch of sphagnum moss in there. So I think I'm gonna leave this orchid over here. My personal thing, I ain't trying to sell him. He's one of my own. But anyhow, I'll take you over here and show you a few other things. These right here, these are my mulberries, and they are staying like little guys. I don't know what the deal is with that, but like I say, I think I need to get a good round of organic fertilizer in here and maybe get these things going a little bit more. And these right here are some chaya plants that I took cuttings of. I don't have a lot of those, but yeah, those are starting to look good. And that's what we got for now. So thanks for stopping by Sherri's Plants, and I hope you'll come see my business when we open. And yeah, I can't wait to serve you. And you know, I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and you know, keep growing. Yep, keep growing all the things to give you joy. And that's what I had to do. I had to come out here and plant some seeds. Every time I plant a seed, I have like a hope or a vision for the future, and I think it's mentally healthy for me. So yeah, I hope you guys find the things that make your heart happy and do those, make it a point to do those things. Have a great day. Bye for now.